is Allyse for RacersGuide.com, here with Neal Williams, who was the winner of championship night down in Volusia for the DIRTcar Nationals. First of all, Neal, congratulations. How does it feel?
Feels pretty good now that it's all sinking in, you know. Definitely made the ride home really, really fun, and we haven't stopped talking about it, so it was a really good feeling.
Now, you passed some pretty impressive people to get to that win. 13 laps to go, the final caution came out. You had Danny Johnson behind you and Billy Pouch behind him. What was going through your mind?
You know, nothing actually. Not worried about anybody behind me. I knew how fast we were and how good the car was, so I was just constantly concentrating on making sure everything went perfect, and you know, making sure that I hit every single mark that I had been in the laps prior. And normally when I get out in front, there's I zone out. I get into my own little rhythm, and that's exactly what it did. And I was able to pull away.
Now, you had improved all 4 nights. You know, what made you choose the setup that you chose, and you know, how much did your crew really help?
So every year, since being in the modifieds, every year is pretty much a learning curve, especially, you know, when you're doing it on your own. You know, you have to make a lot of mistakes in order to learn about these cars and just figure it out for yourself. You know, each driver's different. Each person needs to figure out what they like, what they don't like, and I spent a lot of time figuring out what I didn't like. And the cool thing about down there was we had an idea all off season of what we needed this car to do, and we had a lot of good notes from the places that we went to and didn't do good. So that really, just the off season prep going into the race, knowing what to do. We had a list of a game plan of what we were thinking and what we needed to try. So, you know, my dad, Jack, and Andy, and Ryan Anderson, we all kind of, you know, they know what I like, and they were just, you know, trying to point in a certain direction. So it was really cool because we were able to finally hone in and really get the car right to me very easily and fast. So it was definitely a good experience. Everybody came together and worked hard, and it paid off.
What was it like to have Billy Pouch and Danny Johnson, everybody come up to you in victory lane and congratulate you?
It was definitely cool. Those guys are obviously, they're the best, and especially somebody like Billy. You know, you race with him week in and week out, and he's unbeatable at New Egypt most of the time, and he's tough. And to go down there at a race and he's leading, you know, you don't ever think that you're gonna pass him. I mean, let alone anybody at that level. You know, you're in lap traffic, and for the experience I have in lap traffic, nothing's really ever gone my way. And just to be able to maneuver through things like that and really just hone in. I guess the fact that the car was really under me and I was super comfortable and made every pass, every move so much easier.
Now, your family is pretty famous for racing big blocks, and this is your first big block win. What does that feel like?
It's hard to think about because, you know, like my dad has been doing it for so long with Sal and the Zero team. You know, I won 2 big block races before at Georgetown, and they were regular Friday night races. I mean, there was, you know, I still had to win, but this is cool because, you know, all the time, growing up, it was always the Super Dirt Series and always the Dirt Boys that everybody always had to be. It's still like that. You know, they're at the top of their game. That's the highest level of racing that you can win at in our sport, in the modifieds, and that just means a whole lot more to go and be with them, be on their tour, on their tires, at a track that I've only seen 2 times. That's just, it's a huge accomplishment for myself, and especially for the guys around me. You know, that's a huge win. It's a huge experience, and we just got to learn from it and keep going.
Now, you started your season off on the right foot with a win down in Florida. How do you think that's going to translate when you start racing weekly at New Egypt?
Well, it stems back to last year. Going on the Hoosiers, really leading up to Charlotte, we were doing pretty good at New Egypt. We kind of changed a few things around with the car and setup, and the last like 2 or 3 weeks at New Egypt were actually my best finishes all year. And we went to Charlotte with the same type of setup on this car on the big block, and struggled really bad on the Hoosiers. But then we came back on the Hoosiers, came back from the Hoosiers and went to American Racers and ran 2 races, and it was like I could make no mistakes. At Bridgeport we ran awesome, small block and the big block. So a little bit kind of translated from the racers to the Hoosiers, and then from the Hoosiers really back to the American racers. And so, like I said, all that off-season planning going into the Hoosier thinking, because they changed the car so much. I think that when we get back to the American racers, everything that we've learned is just going to, it should snowball, because we've learned so much from each tire compound and traveling around that I really think it's going to really step up our game weekly and when we get back on the racers for sure.
Now, besides weekly competition at New Egypt, what else are your plans for the year?
I actually haven't even made a schedule. That's what you're for. You're supposed to be making my schedule. No, we definitely going to try to do all the Deos, support Deos Southern Series. I think they're all within reach, and they're all tracks that I've been to before and am familiar with. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to. I'd like to run his Northern Series races too, especially now that we have a small block car to travel with. And then on Friday nights, I'd like to bounce around a little bit. I'd like to get back to Diamond. I haven't been there in a couple years. And now that we have a car to travel with, I'd really like to hit there, maybe a Cord. I don't really want to do any commitments on a Friday night, but I would just want to bounce around and learn a little bit more. So my schedule, it's going to be kind of flexible, but whenever there's a race that can fill in and we can definitely get there, all cars are going to be ready at all times, so we'll just be able to load one up, go and hit the race, and come back and go to the next one. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun year, especially starting off on the right foot, and I'm excited. I'm super excited.
Now, you mentioned your crew earlier. Do you want to give them a special shout out?
Definitely. Going down to Florida, I was sick with the flu. I mean, as you know, and I couldn't even come out of the house, and I couldn't eat anything. So my guys were here, and it was awesome. And my dad really took the workload on and got everything planned, which I mean isn't his strong suit at all, but he was able to do it for me. And on Wednesday night, all the guys came and they got the rest of the things done. Jack's been a huge help. He's in here every day with me, and he was really able. He knows the ins and outs from being with me for the past 2 years, so he was able to just go along and do everything that he needed to do. My tire guys, they got everything ready for me. Wayne and Jimmy. Al, he's always in here puttering around, and he does all the little small things. So my main core group of guys, they were able to come in and get the trailer situated, everything packed in, and then I got guys that come and travel with me, like Ryan and Andy, and they're just awesome help on the road. They're comfortable with me. I'm comfortable with them. They're really able to, they know what I need, and they're a huge part of the success. And there's a couple other people that really, I bounce a lot of ideas off of, and that stepped up and helped. And Hearn, he's one of my good friends. He helps me out a little bit here and there. And TJ came through, and just everybody. It's a huge group effort, and it's cool, especially when you're down and you're thinking that you're not going to make it, and everybody pulls through. So it was definitely a good bonding experience for everybody, and plus going to Florida, everybody likes that because it's warm weather. It's supposed to be warm weather. It wasn't this year, but it's just a trip that everybody enjoys. So it was a good all-around team experience for sure.
Now, you have a lot of sponsors on this car. Is there anybody you want to say a shout out to?
Of course I got to shout you out because you keep me in line. But no, definitely for Fred. He's a huge part in this with Racer's Guide, Valco wheels. That was we got new wheels on the car. Our covers looked awesome. Everybody liked them. It was positive, all positive feedback. Troyer Race Cars, Morrison Performance, all my product sponsors. They really help me out and get me the stuff that I need. Fox, Willwood, Rod End Supply. It's just a huge group effort, and it's cool because I'm young and I'm coming in, and I got a lot of product support from people, and they're knowledgeable, and they get me going in the right direction.
Now, you won a Super Dirt Week race in Syracuse, and now you've won down in Volusia. Which one's more special, or do they kind of even themselves out?
The Syracuse was big for me because that was my biggest win of my career at the time, and that's a huge accomplishment on a different level because Syracuse is that's the grand scale of things, and that was definitely up there for my wins until I got a big block win. But running Sportsman, you're always looking for the next level and trying to get to a big block win. So winning down in Volusia was definitely the biggest accomplishment I've had so far, because like I said, as you're a Sportsman racer, you're constantly looking and you're like, oh, I want to get to them guys, I want to be with them, and then you get there and you realize how much better they really are than you, and how much experience and the amount of laps that they have, and just everything. So finally, after just going through the grind and learning the process, this win definitely ranks the highest out of anyone that I've ever had. Just overall awesome accomplishment.
Now, we've talked a lot about your modified racing, but you also have been dabbling in some sprint car racing. You're actually going to run a 602 wingless at New Egypt this season, right?
Yeah, it's actually sitting right behind us. It's still we got a few things left to do on it. It's pretty much race ready, coming back from motorsports. The sprint cars are awesome. The 410s they're just ungodly fast. They're rockets, and they're so much fun. And you have to have a respect for them, because while the big blocks are fast, the 410s are 4 seconds faster. It's unreal. And going from that to the 305s, and then now to the wingless. I've never driven a wingless car before, but I've also never driven a winged car before, so it's just something cool. It's an awesome opportunity. I can't wait for it, and I'm gonna try it. You never know where it could lead, or how good I might be. I mean, I might not be that good at the start. I don't know, but it's gonna be fun, and it's cool because it's at New Egypt. It's not like it's that much more work or anything like that. The sprint cars are so much easier to work on than the modifieds, but it's easy and easy to work on. Jack's really good with sprint cars, and I like the whole concept of the class, really. I hope that, although I hear a lot of negative things, I think that the positives really outweigh the negatives. And once people see them race, I think that I think people will catch on really, really quickly. And yeah, I mean, everybody likes when the USAC comes to town, and yeah, they have 410s in them, but I think that you might maybe see like a 2-second difference. But again, I mean, you're not going to be able to tell, because that's what's out there racing, and we're still going to pull wheelies with it. It's still going to pull the front wheels off the ground. No, they might not be the whole straightaway. There's still going to be slide jobs done, because New Egypt's fast. There's a cushion, and it's going to be fun, and it's really going to be exciting, and I hope people really start to catch on with it.
Well, thank you, Neal, and good luck with the rest of your season.
All right, so this is the 2014 Troyer Big Block Edition. Here we got the Valco wheels on the car. We got our Fox shocks, our Draco springs, rod end supply, Hymens, radius rods. We got the Whiz Fab bumpers and rub rails, Morrison Performance engine, DMI rear, Burt trans, Burt hubs, Strange axles, Willwood brakes. We got the Zepp Performance carburetor on top of the Morrison Performance big blocks. And of course, Brian Herthler at 4-star lettering. He did one hell of a paint scheme.